Good morning, Galimera, Galimera. How are you? Can you believe today is Friday the 13th and it is the 7th day of the lockdown, and the weather here in Zakynthos is absolutely fantastic. Oh, what a beautiful day. Can I also say a quick hello to a friend of mine over in the United States of America, Bob Shepherd. Happy birthday today, sir. He reminded me this morning that it's Friday the 13th, which is an unlucky day in British society and in American society. However, in Greece, we don't have the Friday the 13th syndrome. We have Tuesday the 13th syndrome instead. Anyway, people are already starting to arrive. I've got so much news to give you today, so I've got a feeling that today's going to be a bit of a long broadcast. Exactly, look at the marks of chickens again up here on the stairs in the morning. Cats are all fed, all disappeared away, relaxing and enjoying themselves. The weather is just, as I've said, absolutely glorious, although it did look a little bit unsettled last night. Yeah, it's looking good. Also, I've got Ireland tuning in as well. Nice to see you, Joe, from Ireland tuning in. Well, this is the news at the moment from what's happening here in Greece. Let me just turn my screen round so you can see my dulcet face. I also want to say hello to another channel that I'm also linking with now, or another page on Facebook that I'm linking with now, which is Greece Bulletin Board. Go check them out on Facebook. Thank you to Margaret, and also I think it's Jane that I spoke to there. They asked me to join their Facebook group, and they've also said we'd like you to post your daily blog onto there as well. Now, this is a blog that goes all over Greece. As I said, I mainly concentrate on Zakynthos and the Ionian. However, I do sort of a general look at the news of Greece as well. And boy, have we got some stories for you today. Right, first of all, in the last 24-hour, COVID infections have reached an all-time high. At the moment, it is 33,100. So yeah, 3,316 new cases as of yesterday. All right, Corfu, believe it or not, has had 20 infections from yesterday's 6. So Corfu, 20 infections. Zakynthos, no new infections since yesterday, or on Kefalonia. You may remember yesterday we had 2 people say that 2 people on each island had tested positive, but no news on them as to their condition. One thing I've got to put into perspective here is just because people test positive doesn't necessarily mean that they have the infection. The more testing you do, the more you're going to find. So let's just make that just a little bit clear, and let's not just get all panicky. One thing we do have to look at, though, is the rate of deaths. And at the moment, it's 50 new deaths today. So bringing the total deaths of 959 deaths since the pandemic started. And that 50 new deaths is actually a record here in Greece as well. And the average age of those people that are passing away are 79 years of age, and they have underlying other conditions. However, what is interesting is the amount of people that are in ICUs at the moment. At the moment, the numbers have shot up only by 3. So there are 310 people at the moment in ICUs across the country. Now, what is worrying is that the development being noted by the doctors here in Greece is that the age of patients in intensive care units is actually reducing. Where they were primarily in their age of 80s, late 70s, 80s age range, doctors are reporting that they are now admitting people in their 40s, their 60s, and the youngest age that they have admitted at the moment has been an 18-year-old. So, and they're saying that 1 in 5 of those being admitted are needing to go into incubation, basically go onto a ventilator or into some form of coma. So, again, it is looking worrying. Just in general, yesterday, the northern city of Thessaloniki has now become the epicenter of the epidemic in Greece, as an average daily rate of infections exceeds 500. okay, with the curve showing no signs of flattening at the moment. With regards to the situation in hospitals, of the 148 COVID intensive care beds, including those in the wider regional units of Halkidiki, Katrina and Calabrata, 132 of those were occupied on Wednesday, and new admissions were increasing by the hour. So it is not looking good there. Now, a little bit of lighter news for you. Yesterday we had an impressive air display of Greek fighter aircraft, and people wondering who are those guys in their magnificent flying machines flying around. Well, they were part of the 116th Battle Wing of Axos, and they were taking part in an exercise around the island of Zakynthos with their F-16 fighters. Just to let people know that the actual airport here on Zakynthos is still technically a military airport, believe it or not. Even though it runs as a commercial airport for most of the time of the year, the Greek Air Force had a special dispensation to use the airfield whenever they want as part of their training. And it's not uncommon for us here to see various types of aircraft flying about, from F-16s to Chinook helicopters. I do remember one year when an RAF Chinook landed on the airfield with engine trouble, taking troops on an exercise over to Sicily, and had to make an emergency landing at here in Zakynthos to get their sort of engines sorted out before they flew on to the next destination. So yeah, so if you're wondering what they were, that was the Greek Air Force flying about, practicing, probably getting ready to go off and fight the Turks, but we won't go on there at the moment. Interestingly, just going back to coronavirus in the military, the Hellenic army has been quarantined after testing, the hundreds of members of the Hellenic army have been quarantined after testing positive for coronavirus in recent days. Most of the infections were found in the the NCO Officer Academy at Trikala, which is in the central area of Greece, where, according to reports, at least 150 of their students and officers tested positive. The officers are said to be asymptomatic, which means they might have it, but they're not showing the symptoms. The health authorities have disinfected the buildings of the school and introduced the applicable protocols to stop the spread of the virus. So it looks like even the Greek army are falling prey to infection at the moment. Now, again, going back to just quick reminders that as of tonight, we go into an extra measure of lockdown here in Greece, where we have a curfew which starts at 9 o'clock in the night and goes through till 5 o'clock in the morning, and you are not allowed out past those times unless it's for medical reasons, a medical emergency, or if it is, believe it or not, you can take your dog for a walk at 5 o'clock in the morning if you want, but you must stay close to your home. But that is the only reasons for being allowed to leave your property, is in case of medical reasons. Okay. Also, as well, the police have been carrying out extensive checks in and around the island on Wednesday night in order to verify the observance of the imposed measures to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. On Wednesday, a total of 4 violations were confirmed regarding not wearing masks. However, in general, the police are saying that people are being pretty good at the moment in following the rules and compliance. People also reminded that the public that on Friday night, further tightening of the measures. I've already mentioned that, with the curfew from 9 o'clock up until 5 in the morning, except in exceptional circumstances, you're allowed to leave your house. And again, you must book out on the SMS text system during the day. We are having our day out today. Jane is very excited. She might even considering putting a bit of makeup on as we do our little trip to Lidl to do our shopping. All right, that's the highlight of the week, being able to go out and do our trip to Lidl. Anyway, so the curfew's being reinforced, and once again, the only reasons you're allowed out is for medical, work, or exercising near your home, which can also include walking your dog. All right. But even then, after the curfew, no, all right? Only going to work and medical, and that's it. Right. The other changes when I'm talking about going to the shops, The opening hours of supermarkets has been changed as well to coincide with the curfew. You might remember that supermarkets here were allowed to shut at 9 o'clock at night. However, the ministers have said no, the supermarkets will now close at 20:30. So that's 8:30, giving you half an hour to get back to wherever you live before the curfew sets in. And they're not going to be open on Sundays either. So businesses will stay closed in Sundays. And don't forget, you can't buy durable items in the supermarkets at the moment because basically they want to make it fair for the other smaller businesses who are not allowed to open at all, that they don't lose business to the big supermarkets because they sell everything basically, which in some ways I can understand that and is a good thing. Right, now, you wanting a bit of good news? I've got a bit of good news for you. This is for Zakynthos, and I would think this is happening in other locations around Greece. Jet2 announced on Thursday the creation of a new location of flights to Zakynthos from Bristol Airport. Now, I think we've had flights from Bristol before, but the local press are making a big thing of this. Flights from Bristol, and this is supposedly their 10th location in the UK. So that we get flights from here in the summer. And if you already want to start booking your flights, the flights are going to start in May, on the 24th of May to October the 4th. And there'll be one flight on a Monday from those dates, May 24th to the 4th of October. And then a second flight will come in later in the season, which will begin from July the 23rd up until August the 22nd, and that second flight will be every Friday. So there you go. If you want to start booking your holidays now, giving you a bit of a heads up, they might have some very, very good prices. Now, literally, bad news as I was trawling through the local press this morning. This article jumped up to me. I like to thank Hermes News for this article. The Financial Times article about bad predictions for the viability of the giant Tui. Yeah, viability difficulties with Tui. There was an article published in the Financial Times over the weekend about Tui's inability to meet its obligations to hoteliers, not only here in Zakynthos, which I've reported in the past, but also in Greece and other Mediterranean countries. Now, many Greek hotels are already facing the issue of survival after Tui's decision to delay the payment of amounts owed by the company for this year up until March 2021. Now, according to Europe's largest tour operator, company revised its terms this month, leaving hoteliers until March to receive 3/4 of the money owed to them. Now, the top amount that they were paying here in Zakynthos was around about 30,000 euros as a first payment. So basically, people were saying, well, I've got bigger bills to pay than 30,000. So anyway, for the overnight people who come here on a quick overnight drop off, TUI normally would be repaying the hotel that's used that service 60 days after the customer has actually left the hotel. Now, these sums are amounting to several 100,000 euros for many hotels that are obviously critical for the survival for them through this, what is already going to be a very, very difficult winter. Now, two hoteliers spoke to the Financial Times, and they said that TUI owed them more than 600,000 euros each and would have to resort to bank lending to survive if the operator didn't pay them the amount that they were due this month. Also, interestingly, a travel agent operating in the islands, he said that he's received only 70,000 euros from TUI, and he's also considering terminating his contract with the company. Now, the Minister of Tourism, Haris Theokratis, told the Financial Times that the government is closely monitoring the situation, as they would, hoping to secure additional EU support for the Greek tourism sector. For its part now, TUI's come back and claims that it has given a significant amount of down payment to hoteliers for the summer, of 2020, and that it has contacted a small percentage of hoteliers in Spain and Greece to discuss payment plans and consider common choices. Obviously, they're saying that they're trying to outreach to these people and come to some kind of agreement. If I remember when Thomas Cook was going down the pan back in about 2008 and 2009, they basically said we're only going to pay 40% to the hotels, and that was it. And they said, we've had a bad season, very sorry, we can't pay you. But they then continued on, limping on until they collapsed last year. So again, the big question for a lot of people is TUI going to be the next Thomas Cook? Because if it does, that will be catastrophic for not only Greece, but also for us here as well. At the moment, TUI just going back to these figures again, it's noted that 2,000 Greek hotels operate with TUI. The Greek tourism industry is estimated to have lost 12 to 14 billion euros this year to the pandemic, while Barclays estimates that TUI's burned 3 billion euros in the last 8 months, and the tour operators already received more than 2 billion euros in state-backed loans, and it seeks to secure another 1.8 billion euros from the German government as well. So again, not looking good for TUI at the moment. I can't see TUI actually from the British perspective being allowed to flounder because simply that means then the monopoly for tourism would then go to Jet2. You might remember when Thomas Cook was floundering, XL Leisure had gone under, there was TUI and Monarch still running at the time, and then obviously with the arrival of Jet2, Jet2 obviously saw off Monarch. It was Jet2 and TUI, the two big game players with Thomas Cook. So when Thomas Cook died, basically those two then took up the helm, so they weren't a monopoly being operated in the UK. However, with Brexit and everything else that's going on, it'll be interesting to see how this will play out and how the British government is going to approach what is basically a German backed company. There was talk with some of the people that Jane knows, because Jane used to work for Thompson as it was back in the day, and there's a talk about maybe they will stop having local offices here, and maybe they will cut down on that kind of organisation, and they may even go back to having their own agents, which they used to do in the past. But from the sounds of it, they also may use agents in other locations of Greece. So there you go. That is the news for today at the moment. Let's have a look who's online. I'd see a lot of people are tuning in, a lot of people with questions as well, which is really nice to see. Sue Dickinson is watching. Lovely to see you, Sue. Emma Marku is also watching as well. Nice to have you as well. Patrick Curtin is also tuning in. Nice to see you as well, sir. Patrick says, morning, Ginge. Thank you, Patrick. Joe Redding is watching in from the Irish Republic. Nice to have you watching in, Joe. How's things over where you are at the moment? Man, very close to the seat of power. That's all I'm going to say. Mark Leggett is also watching in. Raffridge, buddy. Nice to see you. Billy G. Atley is also tuning in. John David Hester's tuned in. Nice to have you as well, John. Jack Harmer, good old man. Raffridge, buddy. Nice to have you in as well. Joe Redding says, love to be there, now miss it so much. Yeah, Joe was one of the last Irish, I think, to get out of the country before things started to lock down. So nice to have you with us, Joe. Claire Thompson is watching as well. Big Al Thompson is watching. David Hester says, morning, Ginge. Off till Wednesday and bored already. Don't worry about that, mate. You can always tune into my show to relieve some of the boredom, all right? And I'll talk about that in a little while. Barry Lethdale down in Essex is watching as well. Andrew the Fridge Watkins over there in Wales is watching. Is my Welsh accent getting any better? I'm not sure, but what's the weather like in Wales? Hilary Rogers is watching as well. Good morning, she says, Ginge. Good morning, Hilary. Lovely to have you with us. Barry says, hi, matey. Nice to have you. Mark Leggett says, morning, Ginge. Love your voice. Stay safe from Pasty. Oh, Mark Leggett, Raffridge, buddy. I remember... It reminds me of the days back in about 1986, we did a fake broadcast in, where was it? It was in Greenham Common, where we managed to convince everybody that Pasty was actually from Auf Wiedersehen Pet, the TV series that was very big at the time. I always remember that, and people believed it as well. He looked nothing like him either. So anyway, Chris Jones is watching, Hilary Rogers is watching, obviously, Gail Marston is watching, Tommy Burns, and also Rathred Buddy is watching as well, Alan Woodhouse, Les Hardman is watching, Chris Neal is watching too, Paul John Moore is watching, Susie Angus is watching as well, John Atherton is watching, Hilary Rogers, it says, do you know why such high volumes of cases in Thessaloniki? Well, the reason there's high volume of cases in Thessaloniki is because Thessaloniki is obviously a major city up in the northern part of the country. It's also a place where there's a massive big university up there as well. So obviously there's all this talk at the moment about the young being spreaders of the virus, etc., etc. So it's not unlikely that Thessaloniki actually sees a big increase. Also, Thessaloniki, from what I remember, is not too far from the border as well for the north of the country as well. So people coming across borders, etc. as well might be another reason. But Thessaloniki is basically a city with a young population that is basically passing it around. So that is the only answer I can give you as to why Thessaloniki. And also, again, with figures, Thessaloniki is a main hub as well for industry and all sorts of other stuff in the country. So again, I'll look into that as well. But that's off the top of my head the reason why Thessaloniki is probably one of the areas that is so greatly affected. Anyway, Steve Lee is looking in. Steve Lee is also looking in. Patsy Ann Dobson is looking in. She says, good morning, Ginge. Hope you're all well. Yes, we are well. Matt Pritchard is watching. Julie Anson is watching. Gail Marsden says, it's such a shame. Oh, I'm going to lose you there a minute. Hang on a tick. I've just lost this minute. It says, it's such a shame that measures in England hadn't been stricter. It's shocking how many people don't wear masks, no fines given, etc. Well, to be honest, I've got to be honest with you there, Gail. That's probably one of the best things that... I'm going to be honest. I'm not a great believer in lockdown at the moment. I'm a lockdown skeptic, but at the end of the day, it's about protecting the vulnerable. So our figures in comparison to Britain are minuscule, to be quite honest. I was speaking to my brother yesterday. I think yesterday England had something like 5,000 deaths, as far as I can remember. So the system that they've run here is a good system at the moment. Why Britain didn't adopt this system instead of this track and trace, which has cost, from what I understand, billions of pounds to implement, and everybody's saying it doesn't work. This SMS thing is very simple. You book out, you get a time limit when you book out, you put the code in, your name in, the address you live in, you wait for a reply. If you get stopped by somebody, you show them your phone and say, look, I booked out, this is where I'm going. And if they don't think what you're doing is right, then obviously they'll fine you. And obviously, if you want to take it to court, you take it to court, you argue your case. However, to be honest, you don't argue with the Greek police, and that's the bottom line of it. You can't argue with the Greek police. They are power here. And I think a lot of people who come over from England don't realise you can't fob these guys off. You really can't. And they've been very, very strict at the moment in locking people down. Things like wearing masks. We've only had at the moment, I think 8 people so far done without wearing masks. But you get caught without wearing a mask, that's a €300 fine at the moment. And to be honest, a lot of people, because of the bad season they've had, and because a lot of people still don't know whether they're going to get unemployment at the moment, €300 is an absolute lot of money to have to shell out. All right. So again, we shall wait and see how it all plans out. Jane actually did shout to me just before I came on that now if we come from Greece over into England, we have to go into self-isolation for 14 days. So again, for those people who will try and get back to the UK after the 28th of November, when we all come out of the lockdown, you've got 14 days of quarantine basically, or self-isolation in the UK when you get back. So again, we'll see how that plays out. For me in particular, I want to get back because obviously of my mum, still waiting for the results of her tests, etc., and want to spend some quality time with her as well. But also 14 days quarantine, that's an extra expense that you probably have to incur as well to go back, unless you're going back to stay with family. So anyway, yeah. So thank you for that question, Gail. That was a good question, actually. Nice to see Christine Coldwell tuning in as well from Leighton Buzzard. I know you're a frontline worker and you're in the chemist up there in Leighton Buzzard, having to deal. I'm not sure exactly how things are going for you at the moment. I've not spoken to you in a little while, but I will endeavour to do so and find out how things are. Dave Lowry is watching as well. Patrick Curtin's watching. Morning, Ape. Thank you. Rock Ape, little affectionate thing there. And Barry says EasyJet have 25% off next year's flight, so get in there quick. Thank you for that, Barry. Right, I've got so many people tuning in at the moment that I'm going to be here all day just saying have a good day. I'm just going to squeeze down. Hello, Mr. Ryan, sir. Nice to have you tuning in as well. Bless you, Raffridge, buddy. Andy Johnson's tuning in. Oh, there's so many people at the moment tuning in. It really makes me feel good. Just a quick thing about today. Today I'm going to be broadcasting hopefully at 3 o'clock your time, which is 5 o'clock our time here, doing my online show. So you can tune into that on Facebook, on Mixcloud and on Twitch. Just to let you know, the show from Wednesday charted. I was so chuffed about that. The show on Wednesday charted. It got into number 69 on the pop chart. Number 28 on the reggae chart, and number 93 on the soul chart from Mixcloud. So come and join me this afternoon at 3 o'clock UK, 5 o'clock Greek time. Put any requests you have down the bottom. I've got a jukebox memory selection already, and I've also got maybe a golden vault as well. So come and join me later on today at 3 o'clock. And don't forget, if you can't make it, don't worry, the show gets uploaded onto Mixcloud, where it's up there permanently, but audio only. It then also goes up to Twitch, where it stays up there with pictures and with obviously the sound. However, they do edit for copyright reasons most of the show, which is really annoying. Twitch hopefully are going to change their thing, but I want Mixcloud actually to allow pictures to be stored. That would be even better. Paying all this subscription money. Listen to the customer, what the customer wants. Anyway, I better go. Quick hello to Amanda up the road. Nice to see you. I've got to go, and I will catch you later. Ta-ra. Be good and have a good day wherever you are, and enjoy the day as you can. Thank you.